detected in Region 7 should not affect NCR. Still, he says the country should be careful when easing restrictions. President Rodrigo Duterte is getting impatient as the arrival of COVID vaccines in the Philippines keeps getting delayed. Several returning OFWs tested positive for the coronavirus despite receiving vaccines abroad. Local experts say the vaccines were never meant to completely prevent the virus transmission in the first place. Signal number 1 is still hoisted over several areas in Visayas and Mindanao as Tropical Storm Auring looms closer. And one company is cashing in on the booming demand for healthier meat alternatives by serving 3D printed faux meat. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your weekend. I'm Riza Diaz. Health officials from Central Visayas say they need 2 weeks to study the new SARS-CoV-2 mutations before they can recommend the next quarantine status. This after COVID-19 variants of possible clinical significance were detected in the recent genome sequencing. Greg Gregorio has the report.
31 samples submitted for whole genome sequencing have shown 2 mutations with potential clinical significance. These mutations of SARS-CoV-2, called E484K and N501Y, were found in samples from Central Visayas. Dr. Cynthia Saloma of the Philippine Genome Center said these mutations are also seen in the UK and South African variants.
Na-associate nga nila yung may mga cases sa UK na talagang tumaas. At sa kanyang hallmark mutation is ito nga yung 501Y. Tapos lumabas din po yung researchers sa South Africa na mayroon po silang variant doon, which we now have this lineage assignment called B.1.351, na not only does it have the 501Y that was first reported by the UK researchers, meron din po siyang 484K.
Dr. Edsel Salvana, a member of the DOH Technical Advisory Group and the IATF's Technical Working Group on COVID-19 variants, allayed fears on these detected mutations.
Itong mga mutations na to, kumbaga, parang markers po sila. Doesn't mean the mutation itself can make something more transmissible or make something more deadly or wala na talaga yun sa vaccine.
Experts stressed the need for further investigation as health significance of the mutations is still unknown.
The more the virus circulates po, the more opportunity it has to change and acquire new mutations.
More samples will also be collected from the area of origin.
We need to gather more samples from different areas of Region 7, sequence them to find out if they also have the mutant strains. Because for all we know, they may not have it or they may have it.
Officials from Central Visayas are asking for 2 weeks to conduct case investigation before they can recommend the next appropriate quarantine status. Meanwhile, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III explained that this will not affect the possibility of NCR shifting to MGCQ by next month.
Because, NCR is a different region, but we have to be really careful as we further relax our community quarantine status from GCQ to MGCQ. We have to scale up even more.
For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Now here are the biggest news around the nation. President Duterte has expressed impatience over the delayed arrival of COVID-19 vaccines. This after various government officials announced that the first batch of vaccines will arrive later than initially planned. Recall that country was supposed to receive its vaccine allocation from the WHO's COVAX facility today. But presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the delays are mostly caused by limited global supply. The private sector, meanwhile, is stepping up to bring Russia's Sputnik V shot to the Philippines. That's according to Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin. Locsin also reiterated that the jab developed by the Gamaleya Research Institute is, quote, the only one he trusts. President Duterte will announce on Monday if the entire country will be placed under MGCQ. Recall that after opposing the reopening of leisure spots, NCR mayors have now agreed with the IATF to ease quarantine restrictions in the metro. NCR is still currently under the stricter GCQ. Now, as Tropical Storm Auring slightly weakens over the West Philippine Sea, some areas in Visayas and Mindanao were placed under Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 1. These include the Samar region, Biliran, Leyte, Southern Leyte, Dinagat Island, Cebu, Bohol, Negros Oriental, Siquijor, Surigao del Norte, Surigao del Sur, and Camiguin. Signal number 1 is likewise raised over in Agusan del Norte, Misamis Oriental, Lanao del Norte, Lanao del Sur, Bukidnon, and the whole Davao region. Now, to give us the latest on Tropical Storm Auring, we have on the line with us Pagasa weather forecaster Raymond Ordinario. Raymond, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Ria.
Raymond, where is Tropical Storm Auring currently located?
So as of our latest bulletin, as of 4 a.m., it was estimated around 475 kilometers east-southeast of Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur, having a maximum sustained winds of 75 kilometers per hour near the center and a gustiness that may reach up to 90 kilometers per hour. And for the past 6 hours, it remains almost stationary.
Raymond, is Auring expected to make landfall, and if so, where?
So until now, we're still seeing a landfall scenario that it will happen on tomorrow morning or afternoon over the eastern coast of Caraga region.
Is the northeast monsoon, Raymond, also affecting Auring?
Right now, yes, it already affected Auring, and we have now seeing a two scenario before it make landfall. The first scenario is that it will remain a tropical storm, and the second scenario, it might weaken into tropical depression before it make landfall due to the interaction on the northeast monsoon, the cold winds coming from the northeast monsoon.
Okay, finally, are there other weather disturbances, Raymond, that we are seeing?
So right now, we are not monitoring any tropical disturbance aside from this tropical storm Auring and the surge of the northeast monsoon.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. That was Pagasa weather forecaster Raymond Ordinario. And we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Some returning OFWs tested positive for COVID-19 even after they were inoculated abroad. This happened to two OFWs from UAE and Canada who received different vaccines. To tell us more, here's Jenny Dongon with a report.
Basing on his vaccination document, a 42-year-old OFW from the UAE received 2 doses of Sinopharm's shots. His first job was on December 12, followed by another last January 2. He arrived in Manila on January 5 and was released January 20 after a 2-week quarantine. He went to Mandawi City on the same day. The Mandawi LGU requires OFWs to undergo RT-PCR test and another set of quarantine. But the OFW was allowed to skip the process after presenting his vaccine certification.
The procedure was quite lax because he was already vaccinated previously.
But as he was about to fly back to the UAE, he had another swab test that came out positive on February 8. The LGU and DOH Region 7 immediately conducted massive contact tracing and containment efforts. 5 out of his 7 household members tested positive, but are all asymptomatic and are undergoing home quarantine. But his is not the lone case. The same happened to a patient who had a dose of Pfizer's vaccine in Canada last January 13, who went on quarantine after arriving in Cebu on February 9. On February 14, her swab test showed she had COVID-19. Experts say no vaccine guarantees 100% protection from infection and transmission, but it doesn't necessarily mean the vaccine is ineffective.
None of them showed 100% protection. Wala pong 100%. So it takes time also for the protection, for the antibodies to develop. Kaya nga, meron pang second dose na booster para mas mapataas pa yung level of protection against getting the disease.
Yung ginawa ng bakuna, most likely is hindi na pinalala yung sakit nung nabakunahan, pero nandoon pa rin yung need na mag-ingat.
Doctors also emphasized that each person responds differently to the vaccine. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, BR1 News.
Now, the Health Department explains that COVID-19 vaccines serve to protect against severe illness but not to prevent infections altogether. DOH Knowledge Management and Information Technology Director Dr. Eric Tayag pointed out that as of now, clinical trials for the vaccines are not yet done. This means we don't have enough data to know for sure the extent with which vaccines can curb COVID-19 transmission. COVID-19 vaccines are currently being used under emergency use authorization only. Tayag adds that the vaccines may protect only against severe disease and hospitalization. So people still need to observe proper health protocols even if they already are inoculated.
It showed that it protects against severe disease, severe COVID-19 disease, not necessarily infection. That's why the recommendations, even if you get vaccinated, you may still get exposed. You have to wear your mask. You have to practice or observe social distancing, wash your hands, and the minimum health standards should be maintained.
Now, here's something that might help you get back on track with your 2021 fitness goals. A company in Israel is serving meat alternatives that are not fresh off the grill, but fresh off 3D printers. Let's watch this.
Demand for faux burgers and other alternative proteins has boomed in recent years as consumers shift their behavior over health and environmental concerns. That's attracted venture capitalists and food giants like McDonald's to the growing market. Israeli startup Redefine Meat wants to tap into that trend. The company was founded in 2018 and is using 3D printing to take plant-based products to the next level by giving diners the same sensory experience as cutting into a piece of prime beef when it comes to flavor and texture. And the company just announced it's raised the largest ever Series A funding round for a startup in that space, which will help it build a pilot factory and launch product sales. The whole cut steak, fresh off the grill, and the cuts through the crunch at the top. The company is run by CEO Eshkar Ben Shitrit, who says the key to his company's success will be taste, and that the new funding is a major step on its path to becoming the world's biggest alternative meat company by 2030.
Our product needs to be tasty and available as meat is available in different cooking styles, different culinary traditions, and for us, most important, different cuts. Our idea is to be everywhere that meat is, starting from restaurants and but eventually going to the retail as well.
It already has distribution partners lined up in Israel, Germany, Switzerland, and Singapore, and will sell to various restaurants, including steakhouses.
And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 9 in the morning as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.